know Judge Williamson very well from his covering the Fort Myers docket for Judge Paskay for 5 or 6 months in 2006 and 2007. And I know that you will concur with me in my assessment of his qualities. In the 15 years or so that since his appointment, Judge Williamson has established himself as one of the preeminent bankruptcy jurists in this country. Allegedly, our cases are blindly assigned to us, except for Fort Myers. I get every wonderful Fort Myers case. But the Tampa cases, Orlando, Jacksonville, within the divisions, they're on a blind assignment basis. But somehow, Judge Williamson is a magnet for complex litigation. Construction litigation, I think the EME case was, what, a 6-week trial over the course, 8-week trial, okay? The Orlando Convention Center, Judge Williamson takes personal responsibility for how it turned out. Just incredibly long, involved cases that he's been involved with. Judge Williamson doesn't like to wait and see how other judges will rule on an emerging issue. He likes to get out in front of that issue with a published opinion. And those of you who have heard Judge Williamson lecture know that he is a natural and engaging teacher. He's helping to educate a new generation of bankruptcy lawyers by teaching the bankruptcy course at Stetson every year. Following Judge Gentleman as Chief Judge will be no easy task, but there is no better person to lead our court at this time than Judge Williamson. Back on October 30th, 2000, I could not have foreseen that 15 years later I would be standing here with you tonight introducing Judge Williamson as my colleague. Tonight it is my honor to welcome him as our new Chief Judge.
I don't know how to say that's a hard act to follow, but wow. Thank you, Judge Delano, and thank you all for inviting me here. I have very fond memories of presiding over the Fort Myers cases for that 5 months that I sat down here filling in for Judge Paskay when you remember he was ill for, I think it was 2005. You have an extraordinary bar. Judge Delano has reconfirmed that to me many times. I was at the National Conference of Bankruptcy Judges a couple weeks ago, and I ran into David Adams, and he wanted me to remind you all to him. He loved you all. He came down here to do a little, 1 week a month thing that turned into 1 month a month thing, because it turned out to be 2 weeks of court time. And then he told me this. He said, yeah, he said, Mike, I would go back to Bonnie and I'd be working that other 2 weeks on their cases. I mean, you remember, he was a great guy. He was a former president of the National Conference of Bankruptcy Judges. Jeff Hopkins. He loved you guys. Jeff and I are very good friends. The only falling out we ever had is he was so mad when the circuit withdrew the permission to have visiting judges. He thought that I was somehow responsible. It took me years for him to get over it because he loved you all, because it's a great bar. Judge Delano mentioned the cases down here. Now, statistically, it doesn't look, your cases, for some reason, according to these judges and my experience, and Judge Delano's, they're just different. I mean, they're weird. I mean, you have everything in those cases. And it's so challenging for a bankruptcy judge. It's so much fun. And I know it's so much fun for you all as long as you're being paid on a case. Because, for lawyers, you want to get paid on the fun cases. It's just a great place to practice. But unfortunately, we couldn't have visiting judges. We did have to look within ourselves and find a way to manage the Fort Myers bar, Fort Myers judiciary needs, and Judge Delano was willing to do that. One of the other things that we've had to do is to get on the same page across the district. When I started as a judge, I had my own team. And if you walk down to the 5th floor in Tampa, you would see the signs, the Williamson team, and there'd be 10 case managers there. And then you'd walk the Paskay team. Well, it was actually the Paskay Fort Myers team, then it was the Paskay Tampa team. There was 2 different teams. and then so forth and so on. And then the same with Orlando and Jacksonville. With the budgetary constraints that we now have, it no longer works that each judge can dictate how they are going to do it, he or she is going to do it on a case manager basis. And so we've evolved, and this was Judge Gentleman's vision. She knew it was coming, she got it, and we've all signed on to it. We don't have any choice. We went from 180 case managers authorized, we now have 85. And we have soon to be 10 judges. More judges, less case managers. Yes, our cases have gone down, but not in the same proportion. Now, how have we done it? We've done it because we've all gone to thinking district-wide. One district, one court. And it's now, we're almost on the verge. And this is, Judge Gentleman got us 95% of her vision has been accomplished. I plan to be the closer. In baseball, the closer is the pitcher that comes in the last innings to close it out and get the win. I plan to be the closer to get that last 5%, so that a Jacksonville case manager can be working on Judge Delano's cases down here in Fort Myers, and she'll never know it, because it's all one court, one district. And so that's the future. I'm going to be back here in February. I plan to continue Judge Gentleman's practice of having a state of the district discussion with you about what I'm doing, what's going on. There's a lot going on. There's a lot I want to tell you about, but this isn't the time or place. And frankly, I've only been on the job for 2 weeks, so I don't know what I can tell you. I'm learning. Let me tell you, there's a lot to learn. But I plan to continue in following the vision that Judge Gentleman struck and the vision that she implemented and got us to where we are here today. And because of her vision, we're going to be able to handle the budget cuts. Whatever they throw at us, we will handle. But thank you very much for inviting me here. I really like this bar. I feel I'm part of you forever. Come to the view from the bench, and we'll see you in Tampa. Thank you very much.
Now we eat, and then we'll pick up the program after dinner. New recipient, but Jerry McHale is still out of town for a family wedding, so we've asked Richard Johnston, who was the recipient in 2013, to come up and do the presentation. Without any further ado, Mr. Johnston.
Thank you very much. I've kept the award secret. It's been on the front porch of Pumpkin Wagnalls for the last several hours. I'm glad that we have the event here now. We get to see the wonderful river and sunset instead of a golf course out of a window this big, but that's good. Honors the effectiveness in presentation before the bankruptcy court, a reputation for preparation, deportment that is civil and courteous, the highest level of ethical and professional conduct, and long-term service to our bar. And our winner this year easily meets or exceeds all of these requirements. Our honoree grew up in Miami, Florida, so he's imbued with a love for the U, the University of Miami, and its football program. After his high school years, he matriculated at Loyola University in New Orleans, Louisiana. His bankruptcy career started even before he entered law school. During his college years, he worked as a clerk in the bankruptcy court clerk's office for the Eastern District of Louisiana. His time in New Orleans gave him an abiding love for the Crescent City, and he still goes there to this day. He attended law school at Washington Lee University, where he was editor-in-chief of the Washington Lee Journal of Civil Rights and Social Justice. His legal career started in 2005 with his admission to the Florida bar and his joining of the Henderson Franklin Law Firm. He's an accomplished commercial litigator, having been named a Florida super lawyer for 7 consecutive years. His bankruptcy practice centers on creditors' rights, and we all know him as the tax man's lawyer. And more importantly, for the past 5 years, he's ably served our division as a Chapter 7 panel trustee. He served his community as a member of the Lee County Charter Review Committee and as chair of the Lee County Hispanic Affairs Advisory Board. And he has served our humble organization as secretary, and he's even taken care of tonight's planning. And we kept it secret so far. In his spare time, he is an honorary citizen of the Magic Kingdom. because he and his wife and his 3 sons enjoy frequent visits to Disney World. He's worked hard on his much improved golf game, so much that I understand Tiger Woods will be calling momentarily to work on his short game. Thank you. Joining me now in honoring this year's recipient of the Alexander L. Paskay Professionalism Award, Luis Rivera.
Well, they did absolutely kept it a surprise, and so I'm frankly speechless. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm very honored. I hope you enjoy the dinner. I chose the venue. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Adrian Lynn for helping keep that a secret. We were faced with a challenge of how do we keep someone who is supposed to be involved in the process from being involved in the process. So he thought he was involved, but we kind of snatched that out from under him, and he didn't even notice it. So maybe a little hint for you debtors lawyers out there. At this time, I would like to introduce the new officers. Luis Rivera is our new president. Adrian, you may know him as Ryan Lynn, vice president. Michael Dalago is our new secretary. He could not be here tonight. He sends his regrets. We'll swear him in at another time. And Jerry McHale, who is our perpetual and treasurer forever, who is away on family business. At this time, I'd like to invite Judge Williamson up here to administer the oath.
Thank you. You will repeat after me. I, and state your name as a duly elected officer of the Southwest Florida Bankruptcy Professionals Association, hereby agree to uphold the Code of Professional Responsibility and Canons of Ethics, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's a big job. And the Bankruptcy Code and rules which govern our practice. Much easier job. To uphold and advance the status and stature of bankruptcy practice and professionals. Okay, to uphold and advance the status and stature of bankruptcy practice and professionals. Now this is the important one, okay? And discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability in a faithful and diligent and competent manner. Great job, guys.
And with that, I pass along the ceremonial gavel to Mr. Rivera.
Now that everyone's enjoyed their dinner, I have the best job, which is to close the meeting. Before I do so, though, I want to let you know that we have some excellent programming planned for the rest of this year, and we're working on some great programming for next year. The end of October, October 29th, we have Sonit Kapila, who's going to present on some income tax issues in your consumer cases, as well as give us his views and perspectives on some of the cases that he's administered. Give us some of the dirt in the Perlman case. In November, we have our very own Robert Elgadelli from the Genovese Joblo and Batista firm. He's going to give us, we haven't had this topic in the, I don't think the 10 years that I've been a member of this association, but he's going to give us a primer on discovery practices in the Middle District, some best practices, do's and don'ts. And then in December, we'll have a case law update. Lara Fernandez from Trenum in Tampa is going to come down for that. And so our hope is to have great speakers, good programming, have opportunities to get all of our CLE credits through the association. For those of you that, couple that with the Paskay seminar in April or March.
March to March 31st, April 2nd.
Which we're returning to
The Sheraton Sandkey.
the Sheraton Sandkey, which is always Judge's favorite. And view from the bench, that's all the credits you need to comply with the bar requirement. So couple that with the fact that membership in the association is free, a great opportunity for you to take advantage of. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank our sponsors again. Appreciate all of you being here. I hope you enjoyed the venue. I did. I think it was beautiful. Timing was perfect, sunset. And I hope you all have a wonderful and safe evening. Thank you. Oh, one last thing. I'm still distracted from that very generous and kind award. I would be remiss, or I am remiss in that I forgot to recognize our past president for all his service and effort over the last year. Paul, please come up. So on behalf of the association, we have this very nice vest clock. And the inscription reads, presented to Paul A. Giordano for your service and dedication as president of the Southwest Florida Bankruptcy Professionals Association, 2014 to 2015. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And I want to tell you that Paul hands over the association in very great shape. We had excellent programming this past year. A great dinner the last year and this year made things very easy for me. All I had to do was do exactly what Paul did in a new venue. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Now we can go home.
Nice to meet you.